Everything you just heard came from the Korg Volca FM2. The chords, the bass, the leads, and even that ARP. The FM2 is so much fun on its own, and you can get some pretty decent sounds out of it. But I think that once you run it through your DAW, that's when it becomes a real instrument. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take raw Volca FM2 patches and turn them into a full-on chill house track in Logic Pro. Everything I'm about to show you is applicable to pretty much any DAW, but your mileage may vary. All right, let's jump right in. I've got a USB to MIDI cable going from my laptop into the FM, and then from the FM, I've got the audio going into a mixer into an interface, and then the Arturia Keystep is plugged into my laptop via USB. So any notes that I play on the Keystep will be played through the FM via MIDI. Going to start off with this electric piano preset, and I've got the velocity turned all the way down for now because I'll actually be able to control the velocity via MIDI with the Keystep and inside of Logic. Inside of Logic, I've got Scalar pulled up, which is an awesome plugin for finding great sounding chord progressions for us non-music theory folks. Let's go the lazy route and just pull up some of their house music presets. And when I preview it, you'll actually hear the Volca FM playing the chords. Nah. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to highlight all of these and just drag the MIDI straight into my timeline. To make it sound less static, I'm going to highlight all of these, go to Functions, MIDI Transform, and Humanize. This will introduce a little bit of randomness to the timing and velocity of each note. Let's mellow this out by pulling that velocity down. And I'll press Control B to bounce this to audio. We'll just call this Chords. Excellent. Now we've got audio from the Volca FM's electric piano preset. Just going to cut off the end there and add a tiny fade to the beginning and end of this audio file so that we don't get any clicking. And I'm just going to open the stock EQ plugin and pull out some of that low end. Let's add some saturation. Magma Little Tube is perfect for this. We'll come back to the FM in a sec, but let's lay down some drums real quick. Out of pure convenience, I'm going to go with the house music preset. Sounds pretty decent in my opinion. Okay, basic 4 on the floor. Beautiful. Let's layer some claps and add a hi-hat. If you want a bit more of a deep dive into how to make drum patterns for house music or any other genre, check out my 25 Essential Drum Patterns PDF on my Patreon. We'll beef up those drums a bit more later, but let's get back to the FM and find a bass preset we can use. Not bad, but let's check out some others first. Okay, guess we're going with that first one. Let's see what we can come up with. Good enough. Let's lay it down. Actually, I'm going to just change that preset real quick. There we go. That's a bit funkier sounding. pretty basic, but I'm going to roll with it for now. Going to highlight all these notes, hit Q on my keyboard to quantize them. Crank that velocity way up, and let's listen back. Good start, but a bit boring. Let's try chopping up some of these notes and getting a little more rhythm in there. That's an improvement, but let's see if we can introduce a little funk by chopping up some more notes and maybe bringing a few of them an octave up or down. There we go, just microdosing a little bit of funkiness. Let's bounce this track to audio. And same deal as before, gonna clip off the end and add a tiny fade to the very beginning and end of the region. And we'll EQ out just a tiny bit of the sub bass and we'll roll off the high end frequencies. Now we'll just beef that up with a little bit of overdrive. Don't really need to change too much here. Toggle off just to show you the difference in sound. It's subtle, but gives it a little more body. Now we'll even things out a bit with a compressor, just trying to find one that I like. I'm just gonna go to this electric bass preset and maybe make some tweaks from there. It sounds okay for now. To make sure the kick can punch through the mix, I'm actually going to throw on another compressor and sidechain it to said kick. Alright, I think it's time for a lead. Let's see if we can find a suitable preset on the FM. Ooh, maybe this one? Okay, let's try this one and see what we can come up with. Way too harsh. Let's bring down the velocity and dial back the modulator decay a bit. I think it's time for a new preset. Sounds decent, just a couple more tweaks. Alright, cool. Let's just quantize these and adjust the velocity a bit. And how about we add a part 2? And same as before, I'll adjust the velocity and quantize these notes. I think I do want to bring the decay down a little bit. Good enough for me. Let's bounce that to audio. We'll trim off the end, add those fades just like with the other audio files, and let's add some EQ. I'll just roll off the very low ends, the very high ends, and some of these middle to high frequencies just a bit. Sounding good, but it's a little dry. The beauty of using your synth in your DAW is you've got a huge selection of effects. I've already got the FM2's built-in chorus effect enabled, but why not double it up and just go crazy? And while I'm at it, I'll even things out with a little bit of compression. Might as well sidechain it to the kick to get a slight pumping effect. Let's keep the effects going. How about a rotor cabinet? We need another instrument, and I'm thinking some like arpeggiated plucky sound might be cool. Hence why I've pulled up the arpeggiator plugin in Logic. Now it's just a matter of finding a preset I like on the FM. Ooh, this marimba sound might do. Yeah, let's mess around with this. Sweet. Now I just want to make sure these are all the same length, so I'll highlight all of these, right click, and hit trim note end to selected notes. While I like the arpeggiation, let's go into our presets and find something a little more interesting. Let's try this classic cycle. Sounds better, but I actually want to change the preset. Oh yeah, this glockenspiel one is nice. Let me just dial in the sound a bit here. Yeah, that sounds better, but what if we took it down an octave? I dig it, but let's add a little variation and bump up the octave range. Good stuff. Let's bounce this bad boy to audio. Then we'll grab an EQ and just cut out that low end once again. How about a little reverb? The Volca FM does have a built-in reverb effect, but when working in my DAW, I like to just have a little more control over it. So I'm going to pick this kilohertz reverb. Let's solo this instrument out real quick. Just dialing in the amount of reverb I want. Because I prefer to have my effects on a send track, that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to send that to bus 2, call it ARP effects. And I like to use the pre-fader so it's not affected by the volume of the main track. Sounds to me like there's a little bit too much high end on that reverb, so just going to roll a little bit of it off from the ARP effects track. I kind of want to put some reverb on the lead, so I'm going to send that to bus 2, the ARP effects as well, just so we can have a consistent sounding reverb between the two tracks. I want that lead to have even more of a pumping effect, so I'm going to use my little cheat code here and bring in Kickstart 2. This just brings in that side chaining effect without needing to deal with compressors or noise gates or anything like that. Now, I really don't like the default plugins that Logic puts on the drum kits, so I'm just going to get rid of all of these. First, I'm going to put on a little bit of overdrive, dial up the tone all the way. Just gives the drums a bit more punch. Then I'll bring in a clipper just to tame those transients and even them all out. This helps make my drums loud without clipping. And add a little bit of saturation. Then we'll bring in a compressor just to glue it all together. I really love the FET compressor here with a high attack and release. Once I know more or less what my drums are going to be, I like to bounce each individual sound to audio. I just find that it sounds a lot better once I actually go to mix and master the track, and it helps save CPU activity because I can just turn off the MIDI tracks. And you know what? These drums are a bit dry. Let's add some reverb to these claps. On the send track, I'll just pull the wet signal up on the plugin and just increase the strength of the signal from the main track to the send track and just dial it in until I get the reverb I want. I also decided to add some snares to my drum pattern. Not going to go through that here, but if you're interested in learning how to make some house music drum patterns, check out my 25 Essential Drum Patterns PDF on my Patreon. And from there, I'm just going to bounce these to audio and do a little bit of arranging. I tend to arrange and rearrange my tracks a whole bunch, so don't be surprised if we come back to that later on. Every chill lo-fi house track needs a little ear candy, and because I'm corny like that, let's just add in some vinyl crackle. Let's give this a listen, adjust the volume, and yeah, roll off all of that low end. I also decided to add a crash cymbal and do a little more rearranging before we go into Splice to find a cool vocal sample to use.
Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist. I make the best of it. Couldn't see your behavior.
Well, that was easy. Let's turn the volume down and open up our EQ and roll off that low end. Let's get some delay going for these vocals. I'll create a send track and put a delay plugin on there. Let's go with Delay, my favorite free delay plugin.
Why do you do this? Right in a moment. Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist. I make the best of it. Couldn't see your behavior.
That'll work. How about some reverb? I'll use kilohertz.
Why do you do this? Right in a moment. Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist.
Great. Now let's make her sound even more lo-fi by rolling off that low end. So it almost sounds like she's singing through a radio speaker or like megaphone or something. All right, and so as not to just repeat the same phrase over and over again, I'm going to chop these vocals up a bit and do some rearranging here. Oh yeah, and I'm also going to add a ride cymbal to the drums just for a little bit more variation. And from here, it's just a little bit more arrangement till we arrive at what I think is a pretty solid first draft of a chill sort of lo-fi house track. Before we listen to the final track, I just want to ask that you please like and subscribe the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Here is the track.
Why do you do this? When in a moment, couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist. I make the best of it. Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me. Why do you do this? When in a moment, couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist. I make the best of it. Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me. Why do you do this? 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 It was Why do you do this? When in a moment, couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me, eternal optimist. I make the best of it. Couldn't see your behavior was toxic for me. Why do you do this? Why do you